Are we rolling, Ron?
We are rolling, sir.
We are rolling, ladies and gentlemen. It's people like us. We're back. We have a return guest. It's the man from Mensa himself.
Man from Mensa.
Mr. Paul Hanafin, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Thank you for talking with people like us. Paul, you've been busy.
Yeah, I have been busy. So last time I came in, I think I was talking about Hanafin Estates, and we'd launched the brand and the shop on Duke Street.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a sort of eventful year. We've actually closed the shop, and I've sort of gone in a different direction. We've still got the business. You know, we still focus on the investment side of property, but I suppose I've gone back into like sort of reconnecting with myself, going back to my hobbies a bit, spending time with the family, and trying to kind of sort of step back a little bit from how intense sort of work was. But I haven't got it fully stepped back. But yeah, I think I've gone in that direction. I think I did a bit too much.
Funny you should say that. I've seen a quote on your socials,
Right.
and it proper stopped me in my tracks when I heard it, because I'm as many people are. I'm falling victim to this currently, which is the man that chases two rabbits catches neither.
Yeah.
Was there an element of that going on?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a few different strands in that business. So the property business we have is obviously investment based. So we buy investment properties, do them up, rent them out, and sort of work with investors to sort of get them returns. We ventured into like high street sales, and that was like chasing two rabbits. You know, and one of them was quite fast as well.
Yeah.
The high street stuff, you know, you're dealing with people selling houses. It's quite sort of, I thought it was quite sort of low return for what you put in.
What's this? The property side?
Selling people's houses.
Yeah.
You know, we still sort of do it, but we do it direct to investors now.
Right.
But you know, if somebody comes and says, "Can you sell my house?" And then you've got to list it, pay subscriptions, and then the issue with it is there's no fee up front, so they can just say after 3 months, "Oh, actually, we've changed our mind.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to sell it." You know, or they could say, "You haven't sold it quick enough. We'll use someone else, etc." And then you just get left high and dry with no income.
Having put a lot in.
Yes, so I just found that a little bit of a drawback. So because we've got other stuff going on, I didn't think it was worth sort of committing to that anymore when we're going to be distracting from our other stuff.
The investment stuff.
Yeah, that was already working, already taking up most of my time. So I think, yeah, it was an experiment, and it's not right for us. I'm not saying it doesn't work. You know, there's other agents that they'll commit to that as their main thing. They'll overcome them hurdles, get loads of numbers, and then it'll be well worth it, you know. But for us, it was just a strategic decision not to sort of push it any further.
Like, for the viewers, what sort of investments are you into? What's a typical investment in your world?
So yeah, investments, right? So investments, something I got into like just because of necessity. You know, as you know, I was a musician for like most of my life up until about like 10 years ago. I think I stopped that. But when you do music, obviously you've got no pension. You work weekends and evenings, and I had kids. So I got into like investment as a kind of necessity.
To pay the bills.
Yeah, and also investment because I didn't have a career like people have, and you have a pension. I didn't have any of that. So investment was a kind of thing that you don't need to be qualified for. You don't have to have a degree to do investment. You jump in the deep end. And it gives you a pension because you build up the investment, and then that becomes your pension. So it kind of worked for me like that. And it's flexible in the times as well. Right. You don't have to sort of work strict hours. So I got into that. At first, I was investing in anything that I could get my hands on that made a return. So this was inspired by the Robert Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I think I said last time I was on.
So what type of investments were them at the beginning?
So I was doing the music gigs, you know, playing in pubs and weddings, and I was buying stuff to hire out while I was there. So I was investing in like hire equipment, like photo booths, candy carts, you know, anything from like lights, you know, up lights. Right. So I was going to these weddings with myself singing.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, look, I can get you a photo booth, I can bring this, I can bring that.
To me, Paul, do you know, like, this is like reconfiguring my brain. When I hear, as an idiot, as I am, when I hear the word investment, my brain just goes, oh, speaking to clever person, just nod. Because I don't understand what an investment means. What you've just said is like, No, I get that. That's
Yeah.
just renting
it's
some
simple.
out.
It's simple, yeah. I'll get onto the main investment thing in a minute, but investment really is just, you can invest in anything. You invest in your health, invest in relationships. It's just kind of, it's almost like...
So is a skip hire company an investment?
I would say so, because you buy the skips, you invest in them as stock,
And you
then
rent
you
them out.
hire them out and you start the business. It's a bit of a business rather than an investment. It's like an investment business in a
Right.
way. There's a bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like basically, I would look at it as, I was learning how to invest at all. You know, just buying something and thinking, I'll hire that out. I'll hire staff to take it there and I'll get a return on that. So if I put sort of 10 grand into that photo booth, I'll get like sort of 500 quid a month back, and in a couple of years, you know, I'll pay myself that type of thing. So it was the basic concept of investing that I was getting into. You know,
Right.
I wasn't into stocks and shares and ETFs, which I am now actually.
Sounds like you were sort of getting in the business of profit. That's
Yeah,
what it sounds
yeah, I
like.
know, yeah. Maybe investment is possibly the wrong word there, but it's kind of the concept.
Right.
So then from there, I did develop further into investment. I started getting the bug for it, thinking, hang on a minute, I remember I had like a photo booth at an event and I had someone else doing it and I wasn't there. And I was sat at home thinking, what the heck's going on here? Normally I'm like flogging my sort of guts out, singing all night and to get a bit of money. And I thought, this is interesting. So I obviously developed that side of the business. That was Goof Booth, which was a big local business. I did it alongside my music. And then from there, I developed the investment mindset. And I thought, right, I'm going to do property.
Right.
Because I saw these property, like, sort of educational courses. And I just thought property is a sort of a stable investment. And also, the key thing with that was the photo booths I bought went down in value, depreciated. So I thought, I'm buying this for 10 grand. I'm getting a profit from it. But then in 5 years, it might be broke and I'll have to buy another one. So I've got that sort of depreciation. So I thought property tends to go up, you know, obviously on average. So if I buy properties and rent them out, then obviously you get appreciation. And
Bigger numbers though.
Yeah, and that started to attract me a little bit. It sort of piqued my interest, you know, the appreciation of the properties. So yeah, I got into property investment. So buying, you know, beating up houses, doing them up, working with other investors as well. So it's not so I buy them. Sometimes we get investors, we get partners. In the past, we did them for other people as well, where we arranged the purchase and the refurb for other people. And it was like a side project where we got fees. But basically, we invested in property like that for the long term, you know. And there's a load of like maths and that you can do for it, like how the price you buy them for, how much you spend, doing all the numbers, getting a return on investment, making sure that you can sort of service the sort of financing that you use. That's when it gets into all that. And basically, you're looking for an ROI at the end. So return on investment. So if you put like 10 grand in and you get 10% a year, you know, that's your ROI. You get 20%, it's 2 grand, you know. So basically, the way I look at it is, how many years does it take to get the money back? So if it's like a 33% ROI, then you get the money back in 3 years. And that's like a foreseeable amount of time. You think in 3 years I can have the money back and I can relax a bit and think, you know, the money's not still at risk, you know. So we worked on kind of like a 33% return at first, because it was like you could plan that in your business plan.
This is just for the refurbs and stuff.
This is for like buying a house, refurbishing it, sort of selling it or refinancing it, and renting it out.
Right.
So yeah, there's
Because like, in my again idiot's head, buying a house. Let's talk some real numbers. You've bought a terraced house for 100 grand, right?
Yeah.
Well, for example, just round number. You put 100 grand, like cash in, or are you mortgaging this?
Well, it's complicated.
It sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Because a house to me just seems like, well, you ain't getting your money back in 3 years because it's sat in that house,
So
not in rent.
if I try to explain the model that we use, it's called the buy, refurbish, and refinance model.
Buy, refurbish, and refinance.
It's quite common in the property industry. So you want to buy a property with a motivated seller where you've got kind of a low price to buy it.
Okay.
There's certain scenarios that give rise to that. You know, if the house is knackered and damp and that.
Auctions, shit
You
like
know,
that.
Auctions. Yeah, we did a load of auctions. I was on Homes Under the Hammer, I think 4 times.
Yeah.
For auction.
I remember last time you were on, I remember.
Auction
I've
properties.
seen it.
So basically, you know, someone's basically desperate to sell a house. Nobody else wants it because it's knackered, and it's a big chew to sort of refurbish it. You sort of swoop in and say, right, that's a property for me, and you buy it and they're happy with the price because, some of these people might have bought the property 10 years ago or no, like 20 years ago for like 15 grand or something like that, or even 30 years ago. So if you come in and say, I'll be 45, they think, oh, this is brilliant. The house is knackered and I'm getting like miles more than what I paid for it. And there's no one else offering because everyone's put off. Then you buy it for that. And then you do it up. And we have to be careful when we do it up to save money on the refurb. Because if you just let it go out of control, obviously you don't get a good return.
No.
So you have to have strict planning, costings, execute it really on budget and on time with contingency. And then from there, you kind of refinance it at the end. So when it's done up, you go to a lender and you say, can you basically mortgage this property? And what you aim for is what we call a MIMO, which is money in, money out. So you've put 45 grand in. Let's say you sort of spend 20 on the refurb and the fees as well. Let's say that's 65 grand. Then you go to the bank and they might value it at sort of like, I don't know, it could be 100 grand, if you've done your numbers right. But you have to figure all this out before you do it. So when you buy the house for 45, you already do the research to know it could be worth 100.
Area, other things in the area, stuff like this.
Yeah, you have to become a valuer. You have to become a surveyor.
Everything.
Yeah, you have to become
a builder.
Yeah, builder. Yeah, you have to become all of that, which over 10 years I've sort of got sort of a toolbox of skills in all them areas. Like I'm not a valuer and I'm not a builder, but I've got sort of skills that I can manage it,
Can you just see a property when it's run down, right? Sorry to jump in. If you just see something, can your brain like just go and just think, right, it's going to cost about that.
Yeah, that's from repetition.
That's what you've got to now.
Yeah, that's from repetition, yeah.
You get like a roundabout idea. That's going to be about that.
Yeah, just like you say, when you're doing it that many years, repetition, you sort of just see it and you think, right, I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so the point was, you get the remortgage, mortgage if you've bought it cash. And then let's say you get it for 100, the mortgage often would pay out like 75 or something. Or if you got it for 90, it'd be more like 60 something. So that would give you your money back, what you've paid.
When you get the mortgage, let's say for 90, why do they only give you 60?
They make you have 25%, in. So it's a loan. They give you a 75% loan to value.
Okay.
And it's a good question. It's an interesting question because there is a reason why they do it as well. Because they want you to have skin in the game. They want you to have something to lose if it doesn't go well.
Right. So take me through this, Paul. Take me through this. Because again, you're teaching me here as well as some. I'm sure there's people listening to this who fully understand what's being said. But I definitely know there's people listening to it that are like me who don't know what's going on here.
This has been drilled into me by my dad because he's been self-employed his entire life and he's now buying into properties.
Right. Well, I'm really interested in it, but I've just never understood it. And I have one of them brains that when I hear stuff and I don't understand it, I turn away from it. But that's the wrong attitude. So I've understood everything up to this point, right? Okay. You've told me why. You've done these skills. I mean, whatever. There's 65 grand in this house. You've gone to the bank. They've mortgaged you this for 90 grand. You have to keep 25% in. You've walked away with a little bit, your money back and a little bit extra.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, before anything else happens, who owns that house?
At this point, when you mortgage it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we would own the house.
So you own the house.
So we bought it for 45, let's say. We're just using random numbers.
Yeah, of course.
But we bought it for 45,
Okay.
So we would own it at that point. We would do it up. We'd be sort of costing in all the running costs because at this point we'd be kind of, paying for the gas and the electric and the council tax. It's all costed in. You have to do these big sort of spreadsheets and stuff. But then at the point where we mortgage it, I mean, let's say it was like 90 value because that's more realistic. You'd get, say, like 67,500 on the drawdown, which is what the bank gives you, lend you on a mortgage. Let's say they take a couple of fees off, which they do.
Yeah.
That might be 65 net. So we've just said earlier that we bought the house for 45 and spent 20 on it.
Yeah.
So you put 65 in. Yeah. And then you get a mortgage later and you get 65 out.
Right. So at this point in the story here, this point, you've got who owns the house at this point?
So we own it with a mortgage.
Okay. So you're paying a mortgage on 90 grand.
Yeah.
But there's 25 in it.
So there isn't because we only put 65 in and we got 65 out. So that's why we're money in, money out at that stage.
Okay.
So we didn't. So we get our money back. Kind of.
I'm with you.
But it's a bit more complicated because that money comes from somewhere, then that's got finance costs as well. So, it's a bit like of a minefield. But if you keep it in simple forms, you know, and that's a best case scenario, by the way. This doesn't often happen. You know, you don't often get the money back that you spent. You know, normally it would be valued at 70. And then you'd be like, right, well, we spent 65, we got value at 70. You get like 52 out or something like that. And then you've got like, say, what is it, like 13 left in. So normally you leave a chunk in. And then what you're hoping for with that is that the rent gives you a good return on what you've left in.
Okay.
Which could be, say, 33% or 20%.
Okay.
So, but we keep it as a simple illustration so that it's, you know, easy to understand. If we got 65 out, which is a best case scenario, which can happen and has happened sometimes, you get all the money out. So you've got no money left in the property, but you own the property and you get rental income every month. So now you're getting income for no investment, which is an infinite return.
So you say you put 65 and you get 65 out.
In the ideal
And then
world.
you're still making rent on that.
Yeah. So it's infinite return on investment.
Jesus.
So you get money on nothing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bit of a hyped version, and you see all the YouTubers saying,
imagine.
"Oh, this is what you can
Yeah,
do."
I imagine.
It's not always like that. I like to shed a bit of reality on it. Obviously, that doesn't always happen.
No. Sometimes you go over budget. Sometimes it's valued less than you wanted.
Exactly.
Sometimes the rent's not as much. And then you've got to do a bit of a cleaning up
Yeah,
thing. But there's
Sometime-
always a way to profit.
exactly, and that's what's occupied
It
me.
just sometimes takes longer,
Yeah,
basically.
that's right. Yeah,
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because properties long term, obviously, if it rents well and you look after it, you know, long term it can go up. So you'll sort of eventually get the money back. you
Yeah.
know. So it can occupy you, you know, and sometimes it can be undervalued where you actually think, oh gosh, I thought it was going to be like this YouTuber said where I got all the money back. And now I've left 30 grand in and I don't know how I'm going to pay back the person I lent the 30 grand off.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it can go both ways. But also the infinite return on investment idea isn't really like that, because property to me is not a pure investment.
Why so?
It's a business. You have to manage the tenancy,
Yes.
and you get problems and stress and, you
People
know,
screaming down the phone.
yeah, and you get boilers breaking where you think, I've got to spend £2,000 this month on the boiler. I didn't factor that into the return. You know what I mean? So
So you some people's landlord.
yeah, I've got companies, so it's not like me as such. It's like I've got companies that own the properties. I've got other people involved. We've got staff, you know, that manage them. So yeah, it's like it's not just me. But even with them people involved, it's still a lot of stress, you know, and it's hard work. Even though people think it's an investment, I would class as an investment as, for example, like buying Apple stock, getting it go up and getting dividends. You know that, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to Apple's office and take a call.
No.
There's risk in that, but with the property, you know, I don't hype it up and say like, oh, you've got infinite return on investment and you're getting this money and you put nothing in, because for that money, you've got responsibility. It's your house and the tenant lives there, and you're responsible and liable for the welfare of that house and that tenant to the extent that you're responsible, you know, as a landlord.
Yeah.
But that's not nothing. You know, that's enough to keep you occupied and thinking, right, have I got the gas checks? Have I got the smoke alarm sorted out? You know, there's all sorts can happen. You know, we've had, you know, tenants in a shared house fighting with each other. You know, we get
Really?
a call saying, oh, you know, so-and-so hit me last night. I'm going to the police. And we've had fires in houses.
No way.
You know, we've had neighbours complaining, sort of people not paying rent. So that's not something that you think, oh, it's an infinite return on investment. It's easy. You know, that's something that is, I'd say, a hard business, you know, because it's got like certain elements that you don't get in other businesses. You know, and you're a bit of a, you know, you're not really, it's like a referee in football. It's a thankless task as well.
Yeah,
So like
yeah, it
people
is.
just say, you know, the landlord's a wanker type of thing. You know?
Basically.
There's no like, oh, thank you, landlord. What a brilliant kitchen you put in my house. I'm going to give you a Christmas card.
Yeah, I love
doesn't work
paying
like
you.
that. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No.
So, yeah, so that's me shedding a bit of like the dark side of it, you know, because obviously we've got loads of properties now. So everything's amplified. You know, any problems for us are like daily sort of
Literally.
you know, concerns.
It's literally coming from all angles.
Yeah. So that's like, but if you go on YouTube and watch the property people selling courses, they'll just be saying, you know, you can make loads of money,
Guaranteed.
it's brilliant, you can do this, it's infinite return.
10x.
I was going
Yeah.
to say, I've seen somewhere it's like, I don't fully understand what they're saying, but there was just like one bloke, and he's like, buy the worst house on the best street, get like a bridging loan, all this, that, and the other, and like this is how you make money and everything. And like, there's also people who are just like, is it like where like they just remix the video and then they just like, yeah, this is why it doesn't work, and then just give you all the statistics.
Yeah.
It is true. It is true though, but it's more like it can work. If you did 10, you might get one that you go, oh, that one worked like that, and then the other 9 were like, oh, that one didn't work. That one was a problem. So it's not a realistic presentation of the average.
No.
No.
It's not as simple as it sounds.
No.
It sounds. Do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like a massive headache.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
And that's why I get migraines all the time.
Yeah, I bet it does sound like a massive headache. I think in order to do that, you've got to really be good at your maths. You've got to be really good at you've got to have some good connections. Surely, you're gonna have to know good builders, good this, good that, good the other. Yeah. Everyone's got to. You're gonna need everyone to jump to your beat on your time and
And necessity is the mother of all invention as well. So I did music till I was about 30 odd, and music doesn't give you a pension. You're getting old, so you're going to be less in demand. I had to do something, so I had to do something like that,
So the rest is history.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, it's served me well, and I'm doing it, and it's good. It's definitely a good thing. I'm not negative. I'm neutral about it. It's just something I do, and I do it for the family. Yeah, I do it for the family, for necessity. It does engage me, and it's exciting. And it has got me from coming from a council estate and having sort of no resources in terms of I had enough resources, fine, but no savings or investments, no assets, to having managing multi-million-pound portfolios, worth of assets, so, and that doesn't mean I'm a multi-millionaire, by the way, but, we have got a large scale sort of property business. So, sometimes I look back over the last 10 years and think, even though I'm sort of fine, every day is a grind type of thing, I look back and think, well, I have come from there, to there. And that is actually something that if you sat someone down and said, try and do that, they'd be like, whoa, I don't know how I would do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
mate.
it's like, one day I'll look back and appreciate it. At the moment, I'm just like, every day, there's another phone call, there's another this.
Yeah, I mean, there's fire alarms going off and people getting beat up in houses. So for now, you won't. But no, you will, I agree. It was Lascelles you came from, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, from Lascelles. To be fair, mate, there isn't many people that do that, or certainly not legitimately anyway, I know a few people that have made a bit of money off doing illegitimate things, but that's probably short-lived, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. I think with that sort of subject, it's always interesting and kind of, there is certain personalities where they gravitate towards different,
Tell you what, mate, you'd make a hell of a good drug dealer. You know what I mean? you would, though.
I'm too I don't know. But
imagine.
No, I think with that, I think it's...
Hanafin, Montana. A big cigar in your mouth.
That would be a bestseller, that one.
Wouldn't it?
Well, it'd be a more interesting story. But I have... what's it? Pablo Escobar, he's a good one, isn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with that, I've actually thought that through, as a potential strategy. I have actually thought, is that more profitable than what I do? And my conclusion was, no.
No.
Because it's the risk-reward ratio as an investment is very poor.
Worst case scenario you can end up in your business is bankrupt, basically, on your ass in accommodation that the government's giving you. That's worst case scenario. The other side, worst case, is a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
Dead or in jail.
Yeah.
So I always think with anything like that, you've got to kind of, with risk, you've got to say, is it a rational risk? And what's the probability of it happening? Especially with any investment or business decision or even safety decision, is there a realistic chance of that bad thing happening? And what's the probability of it? 1 in 10, 1 in a million? And there's certain levels where it's irrational to fear it. Like if it's 1 in a million, it's irrational to fear that risk. You should just think, forget about it. Don't let it change your decision making. Things like, flying, stuff like that. If someone says, I don't fly because I'm scared of it, you think, well, look at the numbers, right? And then I know there's a risk, but it's low enough that you should not let it stop you from going to Mexico on holiday because you're going to deny yourself that experience for something that's not probable, Whereas a drug dealer, for example, if you look at the risk, I would say of all the drug dealers I know, when I'm from Darlos, obviously,
So you all know.
there's a high strike rate of them, ending up on the wrong side of things, like either in jail or getting beaten up or even just sort of having to sort of go downward in life because they've come out the wrong side of things.
Yeah.
So there is a high strike rate of that. I don't know what the numbers are, but it might be 1 in 10 or so, or maybe more.
Yeah.
So that number, if it's anywhere near 1 in 10, like if you're going to take a risk on something and someone says to you, like, there's a 1 in 10 chance of dying, and it's like Russian roulette.
Yeah.
That would, for me, it'd be like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's too high.
Yeah. Also, with regards to moral stuff, I think, that's another area where it's like investment. If you invest in, let's just take the drug dealer thing away because it's a bit extreme, but even if you take business and you say, right, well, I've got to set my business up with that. I've got to be compliant with that. I've got to make sure my accountant knows that. You've got this like 100% whiter than white, or you've got like somebody who'll just like ignore things and cut corners. The more you go towards whiter than white, the more stronger foundations you and your business has. So then you can interact with people, look them in the eye, they'll sense that you're legitimate, and I think you go further from that.
Yes.
Whereas if you sort of like cut a few corners and try not to pay this and pay that when you're supposed to, I think you carry around on your shoulder a sort of monkey and then you deal with people and you're a bit like, oh, and you know it and they know it, and then you sort of cut yourself off.
Correct.
Even if no one finds out that thing,
Correct.
It's sort of a spirit that follows you around.
It can hold you back and it can debilitate you a little bit. It's like a handicap, basically.
Yeah.
You can't be in any, you can't be, no, not any, you can't be in every situation and be 100% you in every situation, because you're going to come into a scenario where you got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Where,
exactly,
a topic can come up, this can come up, and you're faced with two choices. You say nothing or you tell a lie because you know that yours isn't right.
Yeah, and it's a challenge for everyone because everyone has these challenges to different degrees. But I think one of the things I've noticed recently is, to prove this, is anyone who cuts corners and sort of says, I'm not going to declare that or pay this or whatever, I often find that they carry around like a weight about that subject. And then when it comes to it, it wears them down. And then they eventually like cash out. They want to sell the thing. So let's say somebody owns a property, right? And they're worried about whether they've done it right because they've done it for years and they don't know. Eventually, they sort of weaken and say, I'll sell it. I'll sell it because, I'm worried about getting found out about that thing. Because, so they've sold an asset there. If they have just declared the thing or paid the thing or whatever, it might be $2,000, right? And some people they find it hard to do that when they don't have to as well. They don't have to. Nobody knows about it, so they don't have to do it. But if they do it, it's like a cathartic. It's cathartic, whatever the word is. Yeah, whatever that word is. It's like a catharsis, I think I was trying to say. So they're purging themselves of that sort of guilt. At first, it'll be difficult. They'll be like really struggling. I'm paying this $2,000, I don't have to. But then the minute after they do it, they'll be totally free of that weight. And then they might think, actually, I'm not going to sell that property because it makes me $2,000 a year. And I'm going to keep it for another 10 years. So then they get $20,000 and they only paid $2,000 in the legitimate fee or whatever it was. So I think by doing things right, you set yourself up stronger foundations to get a longer term return on things.
A lot of people don't think that way, though.
No.
A lot of people don't have that future. I don't know if the word's foresight or whatever. They don't think that far ahead.
Yeah.
They live in a sort of a now, a here and now type of situation. I've fell victim to it in the past as well. I can look back at sort of my short time working for myself, and there's certain, I can pinpoint them. There's certain decisions that I took at certain times that I knew now looking back, that was just for that, because I wanted to go on that holiday, or I wanted to go on, I wanted to have that type of Christmas and, this sort of stuff. And I agree.
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of people who get everything right from the start. I'm not saying this from a position of saying, I'm perfect and I do everything right. I'm just developing this philosophy where I think when I'm aware of something, I want to do it right. And even though in the past when I was young or, depending what background you come from, it's not always second nature to think like that. There's a lot of people, that try, for example, to, work the system or something like that. And some of them, feel that they're legitimate in doing it, I'm sure. But, I suppose I'm just getting more inclined to think that it holds you back when you do stuff like that.
I totally agree.
Even if you don't think it does, I know there's different scenarios and different, justifications and different areas of need and stuff like that. So it's complicated, and I'm not judging anyone for anything to do or claiming that I do things perfect. But the more I'm getting into stuff, the more I'm seeing it as more beneficial to you to pay your dues, if that makes sense, rather than try to get an edge and get a sort of unfair advantage, because nature's a bit like physics. It balances itself back out.
In one way or another.
Yeah.
In one way or another, yeah. And, for anybody, there will be people out there, as you say, maybe cutting corners and not 100% paying the dues, let's just say. But I think that they also split into two categories as well. That splits into two categories again, which is people who are cutting corners and they know they are and have no interest in doing it any other way, because why would they? Because they get away with it. There's people who are doing it, maybe have to, but think, I don't want to keep it like this. Those are the burden
I agree with that. Yeah. Some people do it because they don't know. Some people do it because they've got habits.
They're not asked.
Yeah, I think that it's good what you say, actually, because there is a category of people which actually get a buzz out of being wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to categorize everyone in one bucket. You know what I mean? Some people will be like innocently doing it, not knowing. Some people will do it, but they feel desperate and they have no choice. But there is also, I think, people out there that do things bad because they literally are bad. I
know people that do things like, I'm literally like two people I'm aware of in my world, well, that I have known in the past, two separate people. I can imagine them. Obviously, I won't name them, but I know these two people in separate worlds doing separate things, and one of them is cutting corners and knows that they're cutting corners and gets a kick out of cutting corners and is quite arsey about it, like quite like, haha, like that about it. The other guy's cutting corners because simply the money isn't there. That's where he's at. Yeah. He literally doesn't. He's not able to. And what gets me is, that whole thing of they'll be burdened one day, they'll come back. Well, it seems to me like the person that's not asked about it isn't burdened about it.
No.
But the person, the person, the one that's bothered is burdened about it. Do you know what I mean? And what gets me is, the problem is, I agree, there is the nature thing that, it'll catch you up in the end. But the thing that annoys me is not always. Sometimes people go the whole time. And you could say, karma will catch them up. You know what I mean? If you believe in that sort of stuff and, maybe they'll get ill or whatever, I don't know. But there are people that go their entire life, cut corners, be arsey and smarmy about it and get away with it.
Like Jimmy Savile.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
But I kind of agree. But nature's not like 100% strike rate in correcting itself.
No.
But I think on average it is. That's what I take some sort of comfort from.
It's again, it just goes down to odds again, doesn't it? It comes back down to that. What's the probability that sooner or later the person that's smarmy is getting away with it and likes is getting away with it? Well, there's quite strong odds that one day someone's going to trip him up.
See,
it's about the odds.
In my head, I think that the person who isn't bothered about it is less likely to be found out than the person who is.
Me too, for some reason.
Because, in my head, when you were talking about what I had in my head is, have you ever seen A Christmas Carol? And Scrooge's partner, he comes back as a ghost and he has all these chains weighing him down. That's what I was thinking of, the person who knows they're doing it but has no other choice but to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just weighing on them, and eventually it will probably come out because of themselves. So, I watched a show called Suits, and one of the main characters is called Mike Ross, and he's
great show.
He's a lawyer, basically practicing without a license, and he lives his whole career working as a lawyer, helping people, but with this sort of constantly looking back behind him, behind his shoulder to see if there's anyone watching him. He's always stressing about that he's going to eventually get caught.
Yeah.
And
you can score an own goal, can't you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But the person who doesn't care and isn't worried about it and isn't talking about it and doesn't think about it it'll never cross their mind. But the person who is thinking about it, they'll look a bit more shaky in those situations. They'll look a bit more nervous. And
that could come into the world of the whole law of attraction thing again.
Yeah.
Like, there is that thing, and I do believe in it to some respect. If you constantly are thinking about something, this is going to happen, and that's the person that's bothered that they're cutting corners, obviously.
Yeah.
Constantly thinking, oh my God, something's going to happen, I'm going to get found out. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit of a spiritual person. I believe that you're kind of manifesting it a little bit.
Yeah. I believe in law of attraction.
And the other guy who's just like, I'm a gangster, I'm going to get away with it. Like,
I think, it's difficult because I don't want to sort of try to make myself feel better that, the bad guy's going to get caught, because I want to be focused on what's real. And I agree that, it seems like justice is not always served, but I do think on average it is. And I also think even if it's not served in terms of like someone gets caught, I think they always carry a shadow around with them that they do that. For example, you've just named that person. He does that. Loads of other people know he does that.
Loads of other people do too.
So then he won't be thought of as well, and he won't get in certain positions which would give him sort of spiritual or social reward because of that. So he's paying a price all the time anyway.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Even if he doesn't get caught.
You're right about that, yeah. Because the people that get to even half know them, no, he's mental, he's not doing things right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you are right, yeah, there is. See, there's more to it than just getting caught by the law.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that. Okay, maybe he never gets caught by the law, but he's never going to progress any further than level 2. Because as soon as he gets further than knowing somebody a little bit, they're like, whoa, this guy's fucking mental. Yeah. So it never goes any further. Whereas potentially this nice guy that might be cutting corners and really fucking hates his cutting corners, he's not coming across that way. He might get further along.
He might work it out later.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like that you haven't been caught now or they haven't been thinking now, but the full story's got to play out. Jimmy Savile's a bad one because he did die before he was caught, but I think, but you don't know, like, the shadow might have followed him around all his life and he might have only been surrounded by sort of creeps. There's something to be said for, like, if people know you're, like, say, good. I mean, good's relative. Like, if people know that you're trying to be decent, right, as much as you can, then you might surround yourself with good people, close people that you're in close relationships with that give you a reward in life that you couldn't replace with what the bad person might get from their success. So that is a reward, that is worthy, and Jimmy Savile might never have had that.
No.
He might have been a miserable soul because people knew he was dodgy. So he might have paid the price in that way.
Well, it seemed like he did. I watched the documentary. He was living in that, like, weird flat in Leeds, like, on his own money with, like, fucking, statue tigers in his house and that. Like, he was...
I haven't seen this.
Oh, mate. Obviously, you've heard the story about him, obviously. Everyone knows what he was and who he is. But, like, watching that documentary opens up all kinds of new things. Like, it just blows my mind. The thing is, what I was about to say is, it blows my mind that he got away with it for all these years. The horrible thing is, he didn't get away with it because loads of people knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, which still is a mystery to everybody, like, the guillotine never came down on him. And that in itself is a whole conspiracy and a whole conversation in itself, which we won't get into. But
it's interesting.
Madness.
It's complicated stuff we're talking about, and I think we've hit a few good points there, though. I think.
Yeah, we have. And
one thing I did want to brush upon, obviously being in this world, I was talking to my dad about this. One of his biggest fears is tenants. Obviously, there's now, like, recommendations for tenants, like if they've been in a previous flat or rented a previous place and are looking for somewhere new, then obviously they have, it's like a CV of experience almost.
Yeah.
But, like,
the credit score.
Yeah. You must have run into some bad people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a challenge of the business. You kind of have to do as much due diligence as possible.
What is that due diligence?
So you can do tenant referencing. So you have you outsource to companies that reference the tenants. They do credit checks on them, previous landlord checks, employers checks, check the pay slips, etc. You can do sort of Facebook checks and Google checks, and sometimes you come up with stuff on there. We have had things where you've looked up and it's like a released offender, and you're like, God. That's before we took them in. I mean, hopefully it is anyway. I don't check everyone, but so there's loads of type of things. We've got a list, like a checklist. You do the official referencing, where you outsource to a company, they check all the things I just mentioned. You can do personal checks like Facebook, Google, etc. There's even landlord forums which kind of have a list of people they've had bad problems with before. There's that. There's also the letting agent, you have to tell them when they meet them to try and make a judgment. And that's harder to define, but you have to say, look, do they look honest? Do they seem right? Do they answer messages quickly and do what you say, or do they not turn up? Do they look clean? You know, do they look like they keep the house well? What's their story like? That's a bit of a judgment call. But then after that, you've got kind of pattern recognition. Like, what type of person seems more likely to have problems?
Yeah.
What's the traits that they tend to exhibit, or what like kind of background, or what profile as well.
So it's a bit like psychological.
Yeah,
almost
it can be simple, where you just reference them with a reference company and they say satisfactory. That's like a business way to do it.
Yeah.
And then we've got all these other things like ask the agent that meets them what they think, check online, and then just have a general judgment call about all sorts of things. Like, if they say, I've just split up with my wife, we had a violent encounter, we're arguing over the kids, but can I rent your house? It's like, right, this, I know that you shouldn't, we don't ever categorize someone and say we will not take that type of person, because it could be someone who says I've just split up and I've had problems with my husband, and they're like a victim, and we actually think that's brilliant, we can help them. So, but it doesn't come into personal things when we rent them. It's just a category, yes or no. We don't say, I like that person, I'll rent to them. But and we don't categorize them and say we won't take somebody who's just been divorced, for example. We don't do that. We actually do take people who've been divorced.
Like no Sunderland fans, things like that.
No Liverpool fans. But yeah, so, you can do that, and you can sort of like pick up a vibe. That's one way to put it. And if you think this doesn't sound good, then that's your right as a landlord to say, I'm going to take this tenant and not that one.
Yeah. Is there any like legalities with that? Like,
yeah, you can't advertise and say we will not take
people with
blonde hair, or people with alcohol problems. You can't do that. You can't advertise for it. No. But obviously, that's for the government to try and help to open inclusivity to tenants, so nobody basically feels like they can't get a house because it constantly says that they're not allowed. But obviously the landlord makes the ultimate call, and if you've got 5 people applying for your house, you can say at the end of it, that's the one I want.
Yes.
We don't categorize and say we won't take that type of person. That's too simple, because there'll be good people in that category. So we do go to the individual and say, do I want this tenant?
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we do.
Which is fair enough, isn't it? If you've got 2 or 3 or 4 people, and you've got, your data, let's say, your checks, what the agent said, and you've done your thingy, and it's just human nature. Well, that one would rank overall best from what we see, which is fair. It's end of the day, it's your business, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's
right. And the other thing, the final thing on this is obviously contingency planning as well for if it does go wrong. Because a lot of people like rent houses and then they say, I had a bad tenant and it really did my head in and I don't want to rent houses anymore. Again, that's like a bit like what we were saying earlier. You're sort of cutting off your nose to spite your face. There could be a good opportunity in renting houses out, but you're just not doing it because of one bad scenario. So ultimately, you have to contingency plan as well and put it in your numbers to say, what if 1 in 20 people don't pay the rent? Can I still afford it? Does the business still work? Can I psychologically prepare myself for that? And have we got processes to chase the rent anyway, legally, and try and get it back? And if you've got all that in place, then you think, okay, well, if one doesn't pay, then I'm all right.
Is there like insurances and stuff? Like if somebody doesn't pay...
there's insurance as well. Good point. I missed that out. Yeah. You can get tenant sort of void non-payment of rent insurance.
That seems like a great idea. Yeah. If you're dealing with, like, no offense to anybody, but if you're dealing with like lower end rents, I hate to categorize, but I would guess that you get more non-rent payments from the lower end rents, right?
Yeah, so with that question, it's not worth it to get the insurance. We've done the numbers on that. So basically, if there's a 1 in 20 person doesn't pay the rent, that's £400 a month. But if we had insurance on 20 houses, it's £800 a month to pay for the insurance. So we might as well wait until one of them doesn't pay the rent.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper to get bumped.
I was going to say, because you see all these like horror stories online of like bad tenants, like saying ones where they've had like full like Wade farms up in the attic and stuff like that, and like some of them just
also
leave
Another good idea, business, you know. Just saying, you've got properties, you know, I'm just saying, you know, I know a few people. You
They've
know.
trashed the place, and then I don't know if we actually have like a law, but I know in America they have like squatters' rights. I don't know if that's something similar in the UK.
I don't think it's as bad. I haven't looked into it, but I know that in America it's notorious.
Yeah.
For, like, you know, someone has a right to live there. If they're in there, you
It's
know.
like I think if someone's out of the property for so long and someone else moves in for so long, then they technically own the property.
Have a look, Ron, on Google. Is the squatters' rights in the UK? I'd be interested to know. So in America, correct me if I'm right, I've heard this correct. If the scenario sits right, a homeless person can just go into a vacant property, lay down and say, I'm not moving, and they can't be moved.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that fully. I've heard it like you have, that the squatters' rights in America. But it'd be interesting to do a Google search and see if it's the same in England or
So
or
it
different.
says here for the AI overview, no, the concept of squatters' rights in the way it's commonly understood does not exist in the UK for residential properties anymore.
Okay.
And then it says underneath, it is a criminal offence. Trespassing in a residential building with the intent to live there is a crime punishable by up to 6 months in prison and or a £5,000 fine.
Oh, well.
So what about America? Is that
Is it still in America? I've not heard about the TV is broke, right, Ron?
So, how's it gone off?
Yeah. But it's fine, you can tell us. Don't worry about it.
So it says here,
Oh, it's back.
there we go. It says here, in the US, squatters' rights typically refers to the legal concept of adverse possession, under which a person can gain legal ownership of a property after a lengthy, continuous and open occupation without the owner's permission.
It seems like it is the case, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Have you ever thought about doing like properties abroad?
I have thought about it, actually. Yeah, I've thought about sort of villas in Spain and holiday resorts.
What's the thing that would prevent that?
So
What's the biggest problem?
I just think the numbers have got to be better,
Right.
but otherwise there's no point in doing it. I might as well buy one in England, use the money to go on holiday more myself.
Yeah.
You know, because it's part of the appeal to having a villa in Spain or something would be I can go now and again. You know, but yeah, I think there's that side of it, and I think it's a new business in a way because you've got all these different aspects. So to set up a new business with all that sort of things you'd have to do just for one property, just for the little perk of having a holiday home, I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm best off just sticking to what I do and then go on holiday more often.
I mean, I imagine in different countries there's slightly different variations of rules and regulations, and there's obviously the language barrier as well.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't done loads of research. If, for example, you know, Airbnb them out would be really profitable, then it could be worth doing. But I know that Spain have like clamped down on Airbnb and stuff. So in Spain, the Spanish government, and, you know, foreign governments, even though we knock the British government, a lot of foreign governments are sort of worse in some ways. You know, the Spanish, they've got higher taxes on properties. I think, you know, in places like Thailand and things like that, you can't even own a house if you're not from Thailand.
Really?
You know, or you have to like own it partly with a national.
Really?
So there's all sorts of things like that where the UK is quite a strong property market. So why change it? You know?
No, you're in the best place. Do you ever like Airbnb any of your properties?
No, it probably works, but a similar thing to what I mentioned there, you're setting up a new business model for the sake of like, let's say one, and you might get a couple of £100 more a month, but you've got a full new hat to wear with a new business and new systems and, you know, changing the toilet roll every night and all this stuff. So I always thought like, unless I did it in a big way, you know, then I don't really see the appeal. But also, you know, I'm doing this for investment, and Airbnb is, I said earlier, property is not necessarily fully an investment. It's a business as well. Airbnb is definitely a business. It's a hotel business, which is harder, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go the other direction, where I'm going more into, you know, pure investments, which are more passive, if you like, than property. So that's where I'm headed in the future.
The reason I was thinking it, obviously, is I've stayed in a few Airbnbs in my time, and the changing the toilet roll thing. I've never seen that in any Airbnb. It's as simple as the keys in a lockbox outside. You get the code, and you're in it for your time, and nobody comes in. And I'm just thinking, like, as far as a business goes, like, it's pretty much no business. It's just it's what you're doing, but without all the shit you have to do. It seems easier to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like before you went in, they would have changed the toilet roll, so you had toilet roll.
Oh, weekly or fortnightly, shit like that. Yeah.
So like, and if they have it rented out every couple of nights, there's a duty there for somebody to go in, check it's all right, make the bed,
clean it,
change the bedding.
I guess so.
Whereas when you rent a house out, you rent it out and then it's their house, maybe for 10 years.
Yeah, maybe for 10 years. Yeah, it makes sense actually. Yeah, that's why I'm not in property, ladies and gentlemen. It makes sense. So you've, I mean, there's a lot going on with it. You definitely sound like you know what you're talking about. So just bring me to this, Paul, because you've taken a little, I won't call it a step back per se, but you've definitely stepped up your music a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what prompted it? Because last time you were on the show, we talked about this briefly, and it was sort of you'd said you'd taken a step back, and I'd said, why, how come you're not doing it no more? And you'd explained that you were rusty and this, that, and the other. And well, since then, it seems to be something you're into more.
Yeah.
What prompted it?
So I don't play live anymore, so I haven't done that.
No.
But I have gotten back into my songwriting.
Right.
And I think I would have always said I wanted to do that at some point, like when I got time or later in life, because it's always been like something that I, as a hobby or something that I wanted to do. So I have got back into the songwriting. And I think when you say what prompted it, I think I went to a songwriting camp in April, and it was run by the singer of The View. Have you heard of them?
The View, Kyle.
Yeah. So
one of my favourite ever bands.
Yeah. He runs a songwriting camp in his villa in Spain.
No way.
And I've been to it before, but I went to it in April this year. Me and my cousin were was my nephew, but he's my age, so I call him a cousin. Yeah. We were having a drink one night at a gig, and we were like, right, we'll go to that songwriting camp. So we signed up that night, when I had a drink. So it took me a bit of, Dutch courage to do it. And then we went to Carl's camp in April, and it was actually Jamie Webster was there. Have you heard of him?
No.
I have, yeah.
He sings that Weekend in Paradise song.
Have you not heard it?
I probably know the song. I know the song, but I just don't recognise the name.
Yeah, he's quite new. So there was Kyle there doing it, and then Jamie Webster was there. So we went there, and I was rusty, and I was around loads of young lads who were right into it, singing and playing really good, and it was a bit nerve wracking for me, because I'm out of the game, and I'm sat there, and all these guys at top of the game singing away, and I was there for a week, mixing with Kyle and Jamie Webster, and they were helping us with the songs and all that. And by the end of the week, I sort of had slightly turned a corner where I picked up the guitar around the campfire, and I did play a song, to everyone for the first time in years, maybe even 10 years.
What did it feel like?
It was nerve-wracking. It felt like I'd just started again.
Really?
Yeah, even though I've done maybe thousands of gigs in my career, it was literally because I've been out of the game so long. It was so
felt
raw.
blunt.
Yeah, it was so raw. But no, it was really good. It really made me feel better about myself, thinking I've sort of done it, sort of thing. And that pushed me into it, being in that environment with them lot and all the young lads who were singing and playing. I mean, the camp's brilliant. Kyle runs it, and there's loads of lads just go and sing and play, and all week you're just writing songs. There's no phones, TVs. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's just all music, campfire, writing songs all day.
Literally all day.
Yeah. They have sessions. You work with artists, like Jamie Webster. There's famous artists there, and you have sessions with them. And it was just brilliant. Yeah, and it got me back into it. And then when I came back, I sort of made it a task of mine to get some of my songs up on Spotify, just to make a step forward, just to sort of venturing back into it a little bit.
Did you have them recorded already?
The songs on Spotify, some of them are 20-year-old, so some of them are just old ones that I never really put out there. But there is one on there called Only 17, which was recorded at that camp.
Really?
Yeah, it was written years ago, but I recorded it at that camp in about 2 hours or something.
In the camp, is there like a recording area?
Yeah,
there is.
Recording studio, yeah, and you get a
right.
session in it.
Okay.
So I just slammed that down, and then obviously I've put them out there. And it's a hobby for me now, but it's rewarding. I get a lot from it personally. It's expressing yourself, and part of business. And when you're just doing stuff for finance, it sort of kills your spirit a bit. You're just like a slave, aren't you?
100%.
Just trying to make money just for the sake of making money, just to pay a bill.
Get it. If I didn't do this hobby, life would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I think you'll probably admit at some point in your life you'll have thought, I'm gonna be a famous singer,
Yeah.
right? And at some point in my life, probably a shorter time ago, I thought Joe Rogan wants to watch out, right? I thought that he's in big trouble now. I'm going to podcast. But what happens is, I think everyone gets the realization, and I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying reality hits once you're doing it a bit, and then things start to change a bit. But there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
I've always said, just the action of doing this, just knowing that I'm doing it, just makes life better. Everything else is I'm able to handle it better. And I'm sure you're feeling something like that.
That's exactly right.
You know, you never know. You might end up being a superstar,
It's like a breath of fresh air. Really.
Yeah, but just you doing it, recording music. Yes, I'm doing this. This is something I love. You'll have a spring in your step. You know, just a little bit. You wake up in the morning. Oh yeah, I'm also doing that thing I love.
Right, yeah.
It's really, really healthy for you, right?
Definitely true. Yeah, and also, you know, when you think about being Joe Rogan or being like the next Noel Gallagher or something, you know, that's not what you really want. What you really want is to be doing it.
Yeah.
And you are doing it. You know what I mean? So you are doing what Joe Rogan does.
Yeah, that's all I ever needed.
And for 10 years, I didn't do it in the songwriting because of that like fallacy of when I got to like 30, I thought it's not working out how I planned for it to work out. You know, and I sort of pulled away from it and resented it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm finally sort of seeing it as like, if I do it at all, even write a song and put it on Spotify, I am doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing the same as what Noel Gallagher does.
Yeah.
So I don't have to have anyone listen to it or get anywhere.
No.
You know, I'm actually getting the reward from doing what I did.
Yeah. You're as much of an artist as he is.
Yeah, and if
No
anything
different.
else happens, it's benefit, you know, but that's not the point anymore. you know. So,
No. It's you're chasing the goal, but like it's not the goal that's the good bit. It's doing it. That's the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It just changes, and I think a lot of people do exactly what you did, and I didn't stop, but I got to that. You know, after 9 months, thought, well, Joe hasn't been in touch yet. Do you know, like he's got the right number, you know. But then you realise, oh yeah, I'm shit, and then you think, oh, I'll quit, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate this. It's shit. I don't want to do it today. But then you realise that's not what it's all about.
Well, it's not shit anyway. It's really good, and sometimes it's a long game as well. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about Joe Rogan, but he might have been doing it for years before he got traction. You know,
9 years.
So
9 years before we got
So we've got
proper
a
money.
little while to go yet.
A little while ago.
and I think he got the idea from Tom Green, didn't he? Is that
Yeah.
Tom Green just did it?
He went into
years
Tom
ago.
Green's house and he said he had this big setup in his house and he was like, oh shit,
Yeah,
this is the way.
I used to love Tom Green.
Tom Green's hilarious. Hilarious. Like that man's mind.
Yeah,
Doesn't he like live on like some kind of like mad ranch or something?
yeah, he does now. Yeah,
He does, right? Up in like Canada or something. Because he's Canadian, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was, he's been a guest, hasn't he? Like a rare guest, but sometimes he pops up and he does come on podcasts from time to time.
Yeah, me and my mates used to watch him on Friday nights on MTV when we were like 18 and stuff. And it's just used to be so funny. Like,
What was that movie he was
Freddie
in?
got fingered.
Nah, weren't that? It was something about a university. Oh, I can't remember, but he just played like a weird roommate. So weird.
Oh yeah,
What was that again?
I can't remember the name of that.
Really popular film back in the day. It was like one of them typical
It'll be on his IMD there.
late 90s, early 2000s, you know, frat boy type thing. I can still picture the scene. There was like a room with 2 beds in it. And Tom Green shared a room with someone and he was the weirdest
Road Trip. There it is.
road trip.
There you go.
That's only got a 6.5. What's it out of 10?
Yeah.
That was my first introduction to Tom Green.
Yeah,
And,
is that when he does the sausages or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he does some real messed up shit like. But when I ever watched,
Doesn't he like drink milk out of a cow? Like, really?
Yeah, like
I haven't
always-
actually seen this, so
I think you weren't born, mate. You know,
it's like
that's the awful thing. You know, seeing them like that clothing now. Back then they were cool, but like that's scary. That
Yeah.
oh, that was so good,
Yeah, them films were good, like American Pie and stuff like that.
brilliant,
There's a few of them, weren't there?
brilliant. Stifler's mum. What? By the way, have you seen her in that program on Netflix, The Watcher?
I've seen that program, but I don't.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, she basically plays Stifler's mum again.
Well,
Yeah, it's yeah. If you get a chance, mate, watch this. It's it'll seem like the olden days now, like mate, but it was a great.
they don't make them like they used to, do they?
No, No, but I mean, there's all kinds of reasons for it. People don't go to the cinema.
Yeah,
Money's not there, is it?
That's right, yeah, so they won't have the money to make them.
No.
You tend to get like conveyor belt stuff now, don't you? Same film
Yeah.
again.
I still do go to the cinema, like, once or twice a year. It's not about the film. I can go watch anything. I just like going to the cinema.
Yeah.
It's a nostalgic thing.
Yeah, the experience.
Yeah, sitting
When
with
I-
it.
like when I-
Yeah.
When a film comes out and I'm like, I want to say that, I'll go to the cinema. But if it's like, I'm not that bothered. Like,
No.
I'll wait till it comes on like Netflix or Amazon or something like that.
But it's not the same sat on
No,
your
it's
settee,
not.
is it?
No way.
It's not the same.
not.
To be fair, if I ever sit on the settee to try and watch a film, I fall asleep. So I'm one of them. I'm a couch sleeper,
Yeah, I do that a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's worse when you do it in a series and you miss one and you're like, I can't get back into it now.
Literally, you go through my Netflix, right? All you see is just, in the continue watching list,
Yeah.
everything's continue watching because I've just fell asleep with everything on. It looks like I watch loads. Netflix think he's a great client. He
Yeah.
watches everything, but like I've never watched any of the documentaries.
Well, that's what Netflix said. They said their biggest competitor is sleep.
Yeah.
They came out and said like the only reason why we tend to struggle is because people fall asleep.
Yeah. I mean, that I did like a murder documentary, some shit like that. There's just something about them, the moody, it's all dark colours, it's got the eerie music. It's like ASMR. Like, just knock shit asleep.
Yeah.
There's nothing more I like than nodding off to listen to someone getting strangled. It's
Have you
just
watched
the best.
Have you watched any of the Monsters series?
Nah, man.
Have
It's
you
in my list that I won't watch and I'll fall
Is that
asleep.
Charlie Hunnam or is that not that one?
So they've done 3. So they did Jeff Dahmer, the Menendez brothers,
I've watched Dharma.
and then
Yeah, I've
they've
seen
just
that.
brought out Ed Gein. Really good.
Is it really good?
Yeah. Like
Everybody says that.
at the bad, I felt like at the end, I felt like weird and bad because like obviously he did all this horrible stuff, but then you sort of like feel bad for him at the end, like almost sorry for him. And but like in my head, I'm going, well, he did also do all this other stuff like 3 episodes ago. It's really good. I don't want to say anything because you haven't seen it, so I'm not trying to spoil it. So
It is in my to watch list. I know it's going to be good. If it's anything like the Dharma stuff,
Yeah.
that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
aye.
But yeah, the process of the music, it's not about the end goal.
That's right, yeah, doing it gives you the reward. And like I say, what you get from pursuing your hobbies and expressing yourself how you want to be seen is kind of like, it's not measured in like finance or anything like that. Like if somebody give me like £1 million, like you get like you'd get a physical buzz, but you're not really, fulfilled inside. Whereas if you do something like what you love, like a music or an art or something, sometimes, or even just to do something with someone you love, like a family member or something, where you have a moment or something, that can be much more valuable than any money could be. It's a different thing. So it's not to compare, but people forget that and they just get caught up in the daily routines and chasing stuff, almost like a drug addiction, like chasing the next promotion or next achievement or money or girlfriend or and it's just like sometimes stepping back and valuing stuff that's not financial or social or even vain is it can give you a lot more and fill gaps in your soul that are kind of more important than the other stuff.
Do you find that train of thought, on average, often pops up more with age due to the knowledge of mortality?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think I was very much like this when I was young as well.
Really, I wasn't.
When I was like young, I was very sentimental and emotional and thoughtful. I think it might be also to do with how busy you are as well. Like when I was young, I had a lot of time to think and sort of delve into my own self and my mind. When you get busy and you've got kids and responsibilities, you're just busy and you don't even get time to think. But yeah, I definitely think then, when you get older, that you sort of revert back to sort of yourself and you come away from the sort of...
The rat race, maybe.
Yeah, I think that as well, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you're a sentimental guy, Ron.
I'd like to think I am.
You are, yeah?
Yeah.
You like a dog walk in the autumn?
Well, my dog's a little shit, so it's more or less I get dragged about and he just goes wherever he wants. But I'd like to think I am. Like, I do enjoy sometimes, like, the little things. Like, lass will pull over as like a nice sunset or something, and we'll just, like, look at it for a good 10 minutes and just enjoy it.
Oh.
But then there's also times where I'm just, like, looking back and I'm like, probably should have cared about that a bit more. But then, like, in that moment, I was like, couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I think everybody's got the woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah. Everyone's going to have regrets, aren't they? So,
yeah.
But I'd like to think I'm a sentimental guy. What about you? Do you consider yourself to be one?
I probably am more now. That's what I was thinking. Wasn't say I've never been heartless or anything, obviously, but definitely noticed things like, as I'm getting older, I am that whole. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, what's the most important thing in the world, I'd said money. That's what I would have said. I now think it's the second most important thing in the world, but I think my health's most important first now. I imagine as I get older, that'll probably go down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as you grow up, because then it will turn into family, it'll turn into this, turn into that. I guess I am a sentimental person. Not as much as I'd like, though. I've got friends of mine that will, send me a picture of the moon, so isn't the moon beautiful? And I'm like, yeah, it's the moon. Like, it's the same as yesterday's moon, but yeah, no. I guess I'm a little bit.
Well, you have to be. Everyone is a little bit, aren't they?
Of course, yeah.
I think everyone's got different amounts of each area, and it's a bit like, it's meant to be like that as well, isn't it? It's like, life's like sort of, it's a bit like a football team. You have someone who's good at striking, someone who's good at keeping, someone who's good at defending. Everyone's got different spreads of attributes, haven't they? And it's the way it's meant to be.
Yeah. You can't be everything, can you? One person can't be everything. Yeah. So I'm going to, so what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, this made me think about, like, politics and stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world with that type of stuff. We're talking about different spreads of different personalities and stuff. Since I've been in, there's a lot going on there, hasn't there, with, like, Charlie Kirk and sort of Donald Trump, and there's all sorts.
Bang into politics, mate. I'm bang into him. Like, I love him now. A year ago, I didn't know anything. I mean, I still don't know anything. But I'm definitely listening to a lot. If you were to go on my, like, YouTube playlist, again, probably a sign of getting older, the vast majority of stuff, it's actually horrifying to think, oh my God, I'm a granddad.
Well, for your like profession, I think you have to be, because like a lot of the stuff that they talk about, different parties and stuff, benefit, like, obviously they benefit businesses, but your specific type of business, I know, can't remember which party it was, but one of them said they come out and take away stamp duty, which obviously for real estate and stuff like that is a massive thing.
Yeah, I think, certainly as a landlord, you have various things, the government policy affects it.
Yeah.
But I tend to think, like, you got to try and look at what you're doing, and then that sort of stuff is just, incidental, if you know what I mean. Because when they put stamp duty up, like, people put house prices down. It just sort of yin and yang, it just all balances itself out normally.
Right.
I think the best time to pay more attention to a government thing is if you've got a business that's really intertwined with it. Do you know, like, for example, people who do these, like, green energy grant stuff and that, they make sort of millions off, installing government granted solar panels and stuff like that. Obviously, if, for example, we had a government that didn't give them grants, that would totally change their business model.
Yeah.
So with property, they sort of tend to just change bits on the outside by a few grand here and 10% here and 5% there.
Yeah.
And what we find is, if the government puts landlords like costs up by 10%, the rent goes up 10%.
Right. So it depends whoever's in. It just moves about.
Well, it can. Obviously, you never should take your eye off the ball and sort of ignore stuff. Maybe the government would come out with some stuff that would make it unfeasible to do it. But normally they just coax it in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And you can adapt to it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can say, right, they've done that. We're going to factor that in, and we're going to do this. And you can sort of try your best to ride it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like you put the rent up because they put the price up.
No.
It works, the market does it.
Yeah.
So people will say, like, oh, well, interest rates went up, so you put my rent up, why did you do that? Then you can say, all right, well, I won't put your rent up, but look at the market. You'll see that everyone else's rent has gone up anyway. Yeah. So it's gone up. I didn't put it up.
No, it's just gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. You mentioned there that the politics thing. We won't go too deep into it, but, like, do you have any strong political views? Because you mentioned that thing that happened not long ago to that poor chap in America, Mr. Charlie Kirk. Do you have any strong views on that? I mean,
politics is interesting, isn't it? It's I tend to see it as like, it's like two sides of a coin. I'm trying to speak a bit neutrally here, but like if I held a coin up here now, you'd be looking at it and you'd say it was heads, and I'd be saying, no, it's tails. And you'd say, no, it's definitely heads. I'm looking at it, and I'd say, it's definitely tails. And we could argue till we're blue in the face. That's like the House of Lords. They literally sat across from each other doing that.
Yeah.
And then if somebody come along and said, excuse me, it's a different side of the coin you're looking at there. You're both right, and you're both wrong as well.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, really, because, whenever you talk about government policy, that policy will negatively affect some people, but it'll positively affect some others.
Yeah.
So the people it positively affects are going to say, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the people it negatively affects are going to say, it's horrible and I don't like this government. But is it wrong or right? You know what I mean? It's wrong for them and right for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, like, obviously, I've been made aware of politics really over the last year. And like, I have like gone over my short life. I'm 40 now. And I can remember as far back as like John Major in our country. And as far back in America as like Bill Clinton. That's like my first, when I knew I was a human being, who I knew was in charge. So whenever that was, like the 90s or something.
Yeah.
And like, as I go through it, so like, okay, there's been blue, there's been red, there's been red, there's been blue, there's been blue, there's been red. And I'm like, nothing's ever changed though.
No, yeah.
Like in my life, nothing's ever changed. And like, what little I do understand, what I understand is the person who's been took out of power, that side, they normally bitch about the other side that's in power. And what each one always seems to say about each other is they don't do what, they haven't done what they said they would do. But then when it switches, the other one says the same about the other one. Yeah. So like, I don't know, I've said this a few years ago with Johnny on a podcast. Like, it's got to a point with that where you're not just picking which liar you want. Is that not just it?
It's like a uni party, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so don't then just take out the policies. Like, don't look at them, because no matter who you pick, they're going to do a little bit of what they say, and they're not going to do a little bit of what they say. And so is the other side. So why don't you just base it on like where I'm at now? I just pick like who I think the funniest is. That's where it is now. So
Donald
like
Trump's quite funny, actually.
Yeah, so I picked him.
Yeah.
And like, I loved Boris. I haven't got a clue what his policies were. He was just hilarious. Like, when he was on the screen, he's just the funniest guy I've ever seen.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, he's just so funny. He's just hilarious.
I think it comes down to his voice, mate. Go to work. Don't go to work.
Yeah.
Did you see Trump at the UN?
No, what did you do?
Oh, my word.
Who do you abuse?
Well, you'll have to watch that. You'll have to watch. It was about, like, I don't know how long, 40 minutes long, and the teleprompter didn't work, and he said somebody's done that on purpose, and then he just tore into the UN for about 40 minutes.
For doing that?
He said he just tore into all of them about everything. He said Obama was talking about the carbon footprint, and he said, and then he'd get in his plane and fly to Hawaii for a round of golf.
Yeah.
He was going, it's a con job.
Yeah. I like him because he's not bothered, is he?
Yeah, I think with politics, like I said earlier, like about different sides, I think ultimately what you want is competency and not corruption. If you could have that, it wouldn't really matter which side was in, because they'd be managing things well and they wouldn't be corrupt. But it seems like corruption's very common in politics. And it's not even corruption that's like obviously criminal. Sometimes it's just incentives. You just have people with money like lobbying, government officials to do something that's in their interests. And then it loses competency because it becomes biased. There's a lot of that going on. And like I say, a lot of the politicians, because they're sort of shills for powerful people, they don't have competency. They're just like spokespeople that are doing what they're told. So they don't have that competency of leadership. So what you have is basically, people who can't drive the ship driving the ship, being told what to do by people who have an interest in where the ship goes. And the people are just
so
passengers.
Bent. It's so bent. Like, it's so dodgy. Like,
that's why that's one thing I do think is good about Trump. He is a competent leader, as he's been proven by his businesses and stuff like that. Now, I know Trump's a very divisive figure, and the side that doesn't like him will have an answer for everything, saying you're wrong. I just think
I love him.
I just think he is competent, because if you look at it, he's trying to get peace in the Middle East. Like, Biden didn't do that.
Yeah,
Biden didn't do that.
I don't care if he's doing it for his own gain, and he is. He
doesn't take a salary though, so.
No, he just needs to. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. Like, but obviously he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, doesn't he? He wants the accolade of being the greatest man. He is. And before I go any further, I think he's the greatest president or leader of a country in the Western world I've ever seen or ever will be. And I'm going to say that. Well, maybe not ever will be, but certainly I've ever seen and has ever been.
Yeah.
However, he is a complete narcissist, which is fine by me. He's a complete egomaniac, which is fine by me. Because you know what? when you're leading the most powerful company in the world, which is the United States of America, I think you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably a bit improper at times, but he's an old man and he's from a different era. And people of that age did squeeze girls' bums. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a bad guy, but
I think
I like him for his bad things.
Yeah.
You know, I like him for that.
I don't think he should be as hated as he is, because ultimately,
No.
either way you look at it, like a politician, if you don't like them, then there's a level of hate that you should have for them, but it's not that much. And he's hated much beyond what he should be just as a politician.
Mental,
and
man.
that makes me think it could be contrived by people in high positions that have an agenda against him. Because how can it be that strong? The average person won't just wake up and go, oh, that politician there, like, I want to kill him and all his family. I want them all to go to jail forever. It's like, whoa, chill out, man. You know, it's not that bad.
Do you realise we nearly saw an American president get his head blown clean off in HD? Do you realise what would have happened
Yeah.
in the United States? Definitely, but how that would have knocked on in other places. Like the ripples of what would have happened. Don't like underestimate that. If his head had got blown clean off, that wouldn't have just been, oh, wasn't that bad? No. Because there was that much. It was like a balloon. It slightly simmered, slightly now, thankfully. I think the Charlie Kirk thing's probably helped it. It just feels like everyone's just gone, hang on a minute, this is getting a bit mental.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's still hatred. But if that had have happened at that time, there and then, like, the world might have changed.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so, yeah.
Like, you've got to think how much security would have stepped up everywhere. I mean, if it did happen, like obviously it'd be Vice President comes in, who is it J.D. Vance or something for Donald Trump. So he would have came in, just watched the amount of security would have came in after that, talking like at least 1,000 per.
It's
per
interesting.
Political figure.
It's interesting what you're saying as well, because I don't think the security was right that day. Yes, like they could have stepped up security for Trump, but they didn't put people on the roof and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder. I know I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory, but it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
No, I've heard a few, again, I'm not that informed, but like I've heard that on that day he'd asked for like the top level of security that he should have been allowed, but he wasn't given that. He was given like a lower level of security, the people who were there. I'm not saying they're incompetent, but not as high as it should have been. So he had the wrong people around first. He was, because he wasn't the president then, was he?
No.
Was he?
No, he was just campaigning. Wasn't he?
Yeah, it was like the rally.
Yeah, that's right. And because he wasn't the president, he didn't get the president's treatment,
That's right,
basically. Something like that. Which is, you know, I suppose you can argue and say, well, he wasn't the president. Do you know what I mean? I suppose you could
I think
argue
it
that.
was like somebody should have been on the roof, I think.
Yeah. Have you seen like a diagram of how close it was? Like, it was like quite close.
Yeah,
And like
millimeters,
the
I
roof
think.
was on a slope. And like, you could see the person on the roof.
Yeah.
Like, that's how mental it was.
Yeah.
I think it, like, obviously it came down like millimeters, but I think in general, because he was ex-president at the time, wasn't he? I think anyone who's going in to become a president should be treated like a president. So even the likes of Joe Biden, who might come back, or what's her name, who was Joe Biden's VP.
Oh, whatever her name is. Kamala, yeah.
Yeah, Kamala Harris. Like, if she comes back in on this next election, she should be treated like a VP, like a president, sorry.
If she does, then they're literally giving it to the Republicans again. Because
Well,
she was not liked.
I mean, like, as in terms of, like, security. So, like, when they do these rallies and stuff, I mean, Trump, he was in the middle of, like, he was stood on a podium in the middle of thousands of people. Like, in a position like that, there should be more put in place.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point on the campaigns.
Yeah.
Because they might be the president, so...
Like, if you look at it from an outside perspective, if you are a shooter, they are highlighting a target for him.
Yeah.
Like,
this is where he'll be.
Yeah,
That's where he'll
like-
be stood.
all of these people, don't worry about them, but the podium in the middle, like, that's where it'll be. So you just need to look there. Like, you're almost like, not encouraging it, but like, if someone is going to be there, it's not, you're not exactly making it hard for them.
Yeah. Also, regarding assassinations and stuff, I think there's an easy way for people to get plausible deniability for sort of killing someone if they're in power. Because basically, if you've got the FBI's intelligence, then you probably get reports all the time saying somebody has sent a message to somebody saying they're taking a gun to kill Trump today. Now, obviously, you know, if everyone's competent and honest, they'll say, right, let's nip this in the bud so he doesn't do it. If you've got some sort of like exclusivity on that information, for example, if you're a corrupt person in power, head of the FBI or something, and you want someone killed, you could just look at that and go, I don't think that's a credible threat. Let's not put security there today. And I deem that to be my professional opinion. Now, anyone who looks at that could say, well, we can't prove it is or isn't right. So you could get plausible deniability to say, I just didn't think that merited the security. But you also know that he's going to possibly go there and kill him, and you haven't added the security that you should have. And you just have to do that a few times, and then one of the times you'll be like, oh, Trump got shot by that person. Oh, yeah, and I did let them do it without extra security. So it gives people a little bit of an edge to allow. So sometimes people think with a conspiracy that they've planned to do it. They've planted the person who's shooting him. They've given him the gun. They've given him an alibi. All this, I'll give, you know, basically, it might be there's loads of people out there that are nuts that are going to shoot people anyway, but the FBI is supposed to stop them. All they have to do is not stop them, and then they can't be held guilty for doing it.
That's genius, Paul. I've never thought of it that way.
Oh, that's good.
Because I was literally, obviously,
Hopefully no one does it though.
No, but like that thing that, for example, let's just use the Trump thing for example, as the example. And yes, obviously I'd listened to the conspiracies. It all did seem a bit fishy. But yes, from an idiot's perspective, I was like, oh, but would they really like go and see a kid and say, listen, mate, we need you to go in there, we need you to shoot. It just seems a bit mad. And like, as Paul's just pointed out, yeah, it doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to go find the shooter. They're there anyway. All you've got to do is get that one person to look at this, you know, dozens and dozens. I bet on that day, there was dozens and dozens, if not more, of you know, reports coming in or people making hoaxes. All it takes is for that one person just to turn a blind eye for that day. Doesn't have to be a particular one. Could just go, yeah, no, it's fine. And he could have, that FBI guy or whatever, I'm not saying this happened, obviously, but he could have just had his boss, who at the time was in the other party, said,
that's what I mean,
listen, just let things go.
We haven't got the resources today for that.
Yeah, just let things go today, We're too busy today. Like, it could all actually be kosher right from the top. There might have actually been short of resources, you know, but somebody somewhere could have just went, not today. And we'll see what happens. And that day, there might have been no shooter. The next time, there might be no shooter. Yeah. But the next time, there might be. So, and that, thinking of it that way, that it can be a lot, you can really simple it down a little bit, where, as he said, no one's actually really to fault, really, or a lot less people. It's not as nefarious as like, or not as as
planned.
Planned as that, where somebody's going to give somebody a rifle. Yeah, never thought of that, Paul.
I wonder what it looks like behind the scenes, like on the days where they do have all the security. Like obviously we don't see it, but like I wonder if there are people like being pulled aside, checked, arrested, like, and the stuff what you like, the stuff that you don't see. Like obviously we've seen with Charlie Kirk, and obviously when Trump got shot, that it all comes out afterwards, but you never hear about someone going there with the intention to do it. It's always this, like, it makes it seem like if someone goes and tries to do it, they do it. Like, they never get stopped. But obviously, I wonder what happens behind the scenes, like whether there's like a percentage where it's like 99% are stopped and there's a Charlie Kirk and a Donald Trump are the 1%.
Well, you hear about a lot with that, like terrorism stuff as well. Like I've watched things that like we only hear about the really bad things on the TV, but like apparently like it's a daily occurrence throughout the United States where like houses are getting busted and there's like people from certain places building bombs like that were planning to do stuff.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, they just get the intel to go and do something before it happens. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about the access and ability that the intelligence services have to spy and find information. I agree.
So that means that if they can, then how are they letting some slip through as well, you know? It could just be, you know, incompetence or something, but that's definitely a strategy they could use. Hopefully they don't hear this and
no
probably do it already at a much higher level.
I'm sure they're all watching us. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are.
There you go.
Go on, give them a wave on the camera.
I know, I know. Yeah, who knows,
Who
knows?
Yeah.
How long have you been rolling, Ron?
It does say an hour and 50, but obviously we're recording about 20 minutes before, and so my guess is about an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half. That is normally where we like it, you know, Paul.
It's been.
So what's the next steps? What's going on? You're going to continue with I'm going to continue uploading music. So what is your name? Just your name? Just Paul Hanafin on
Yeah.
Spotify?
I haven't got part of a stage name. Maybe I should have, because no one understands Hanafin, especially on the phone.
They
I have to
don't?
spell it out every time, and they always think the F's and S and all that. But no, like I said, because I'm doing it just for myself in a way, it's just a case of, finding the time to do it. And I have got somebody sort of working on it a little bit and sort of looking in the background for people who want songs, because there could be some publishers or artist managers that need songs for artists. So that's something that I could see myself doing, because I'm a bit older myself. I'm not necessarily, the front man and wanting to be like a singer. Writing the songs and someone else using them could be a good way to sort of get them out there. So I would say that's something I'm going to work on in the background. Obviously, continue with my business. I am getting involved a lot more in stocks and shares, actually, when we talked about investment.
Oh, yeah.
Because properties sort of, it can be challenging and heavy management, I'm starting to think like it could be bottlenecked. You get to a certain level and it's that much work that you lose a bit of that momentum to grow. I know you can systemize it and stuff, but for me personally, I'm thinking of going in the direction of trying like stocks and shares and other types of investments, which are a bit more sort of no investments passive, but more passive than property, where you don't have like the management side. That's a company that's managed. All you've got to do is research and choose the investments, and then if it works, then obviously you get a return that way.
Have you got your eye in any particular?
Yeah, I've got some at the moment. Yeah,
Okay.
I've got a few. I've got a portfolio which I've been building since COVID, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And it engages my mind, because it's like a minefield. Go up and down and trying to predict which one's going to work and all that. But it is interesting. I've got stocks in different things now. Nike's possible, turnaround because it's quite low at the moment, but it's a historically strong company. So if they sort of turn it around and pick back up, then obviously that could grow. AMD is a good one with the AI stuff and chip making.
That seems like a no-brainer, right? 'Cause it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah. They've got a new chip coming next year, which is supposed to be going to be in demand and things like that. But it's a bit of a minefield, really. And, a good company doesn't make a good investment because they might already be overvalued in the stock. So
Right.
it's like a maths thing in a minefield. It's
It's isn't it like the art of unless you're doing the old-fashioned like gold and silver and stuff, like if you're trying to do the whole investing companies thing, don't you have to have like the foresight to sort of see a company and know it's good before everybody else does?
Yeah.
Isn't that,
so.
or the trend picks it, shall we say?
Yeah, that's one type of, that's like a new growth company, isn't it? That would be a new company that you're predicting is going to grow. I suppose they're more volatile, so they could really shoot up and make you a fortune, or, you could lose a lot on them. So Nike, for example, is an established company where you're just betting on a turnaround. But there's a company called Palantir who deal in AI sort of, for companies. And last year they were like $9 a share. And I was following it and I bought some. And, I didn't really know much about them at the time. Didn't do enough research to have the conviction to hold that stock. And, I sold it when it went up a bit. I thought it's made me some money. It's now about 180 roughly. So, that is like 20 times more or something like that.
What did Palantir do?
Palantir, so they do like, they make sort of interfaces for AI for companies.
Right.
I'm not an expert on it. Like I say, if I'd owned more of the stock or kept it, I'd have to learn more about it. But I sold it and then it went up so much I've never bought it again. So I've sort of not researched it anymore. But I watched it going up thinking, oh, sugar, I should have kept that. 20 times in 1 year. That's like...
There's loads of that. There are like loads of that. Like I've heard people with the whole... I've like heard some awful like crypto stories.
Yeah, crypto is different. I think it's a bit more of a gamble, isn't it? But with Palantir, I think they do like, AI, like ChatGPT and stuff, you can just go on. I think Palantir like incorporate AI into companies' auditing and stuff like that. So it can give the companies insights and work inside the company's data.
Right, okay.
To sort of give them suggestions and ways of making it more efficient and stuff like that.
I dare say anything, any business, for somebody who knows nothing about investments, but common sense tells me if there's any company out there, not any, But if their method is they're going to put AI into businesses that don't have AI, I would say that's definitely something to have a look at.
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be in any business with a screen, to be perfectly honest.
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
You got to
Stocks and
think
shares.
everything's technology these days as well, so
Yeah.
it can benefit practically everyone.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, do you use ChatGPT and stuff?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
To write emails.
I love it.
Yeah.
Me, like, sometimes you have a crack with them, don't you, as well?
Tell you what, I mean, I'm new to the game. I'm like 2 months in. I've only started using it 2 months ago. But yeah, writing emails and stuff, it's good. But today I figured out that it can give me a logo. So I have this client, and
Wow, yeah.
I don't mind saying I've been using a graphic designer, and like the logos don't seem right. And I didn't even know you did images on literally sat on the toilet today. I just literally said, I have a client. They are a this. That's what they're called. Make me a logo. And I thought he was just going to like say something like, I don't do pictures. He said, wait there. And I'm like, it's thinking. And all of a sudden, he did. And it was like, never. So he said, this is going to take a while. So I put the phone down, carried on my morning, came back. There it was. A logo. And it's better than the graphic designer. And I'm like,
crazy,
mate,
crazy.
graphic designers are in trouble.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a chat with Ara I use. It's Grok. It's a different AI to ChatGPT.
Like Grok's lass.
Yeah, I put it on like in the car, and I'll sit there, have a big conversation with it about like consultancy. Like I'll ask about all sorts of business stuff, like like regulations or accountancy questions, and I'm sat there chatting away to it, and I'm like, God, I didn't know that. I'm glad I know that now and all this.
Right. Well, you see, this is what makes it. This is why you're where you are in life, mate, and I'm where I am, because I'm driving to work, listening to Nirvana, and
that's probably better. That's better for the soul anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I'm not learning anything. I'm just thinking maybe I should try heroin. That's sort of my thought process.
I don't do it all the time. I do listen to Nirvana as well. But no, have you seen Grok Imagine? Have you seen that? You haven't seen it? I'm going to have to show you that.
Tell me.
I think it's
What
dangerous.
happened?
It's dangerous. So
What does it do? What's it do?
So you take a picture of someone. Can I
Right.
take a picture of you?
Yeah.
Is that right? Right.
So this is live, people.
Yeah. So you take a picture and then you put it into Grok Imagine. This is Grok. It's a different AI to ChatGPT.
It's Elon's, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure which is better or worse, but this is just something I've sort of come across. You put the picture in and then you tell it to do something like, I'll ask it to get you to stand up and turn around.
No.
Is that all right?
Yeah, but it's not going to do that.
You could ask it to get naked as well, and it probably would. But UK government banned that, actually. I tried that the first week, it worked. And
See if it makes me get naked.
It doesn't. It says the UK government guidelines don't allow it.
Spoil sport.
Right,
But it's
so-
Elon. I didn't think Elon listened to that sort of stuff.
Imagine now,
Well-
you back a photo and you just type back, make it bigger.
Yeah, obviously I would.
It takes like a minute to sort of process. But when you see it, like it's mind-blowing. It looks like you're actually doing it.
Really?
Yeah. Ready?
No.
Crazy.
No.
Like, how is it doing that?
That's crazy.
Can you send us that and
you
we'll
see
put
it?
it in the video?
Can you see it? That was just from the picture.
Yeah, that's
Bam.
mental, that one.
Crazy.
How is that even possible? And
How
what's
many-
that called? Aura.
It's Grok Imagine.
Grok Imagine.
Yeah.
Spell GROK and then just imagine.
Which, so just quick, someone, you're a smart guy.
Well,
Mensa. Yeah. Like I'm
smart in
using,
some ways.
Yeah,
not in
smart in
others.
some ways. Well, I'm using this Chat GPT thing, but like I have a friend that uses Grok. Like, which one is better and why?
So, ChatGPT is a bit more accurate sometimes with the daily stuff. Like Grok got me in trouble the other week. Like
Why?
I was asking about business regulations, and it went, "Yeah, you need that," and I was like, "Oh no, I haven't got that." And I was stressing for like 48 hours, and I was trying to figure out how I would get this thing in place. And then I tried ChatGPT, and it went, "No, you don't need that." And I was like, "What the?"
Go on, Grok, you lied.
Grok just got it wrong, and I was like, I wondered why no one had mentioned it in 10 years of the business, and I thought, surely we can't need that when no one's mentioned it. But yeah, anyway, Grok is more complicated. So like, if you ask it like an equation or something like that, Grok's possibly, from what I hear, better at like the more complex stuff. But ChatGPT is a little bit more accurate, I think.
A little bit more. If someone like me who's using it for emails in general, like
Yeah.
idiot stuff,
I'd say ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I would say Grok's good for the talking to it one. Do Do you know when you speak to it? I find ChatGPT's just, they always say the same stuff. It sounds like a robot. Like when she goes, da, 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 it's always the same.
It's got no personality.
No, Grok like really is like a bit like talking to someone.
Is it like a dude?
Yeah. And I don't know if ChatGPT's got that. Maybe it does. But that Imagine thing is just a tab. So you get Grok app and then you go to the tab Imagine and then you put a picture in and...
Just the mind boggles, doesn't it? Like, where is this going?
Yeah.
And that was just literally when the prehistoric stages now. Like, where, what's going to happen?
Imagine
like,
how many people can get sacked from that. Like, you could just type it in saying like, do something, obviously which like against like company regulations or something for the company you work at. They go, look what John did yesterday. John, you're gone, mate.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Right, before you go, because we are going to round it up, as I say, you are a smart guy.
In some ways.
In some ways. Well, we're going to find out, are you intelligent in this way? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, right? Just quick fire questions. No pressure, mate. Okay. Find one word that connects all three. Cottage, Swiss, cake.
Cheese.
That's the correct answer.
Bing,
okay,
bing.
nice and easy. Nice and easy. Well, wait there, mate. There's some swerve balls here. So, what colour do you get when you mix blue and yellow?
Is it green?
It is green. It's 2 from 2. What can you hold without ever touching it?
I think it's like a riddle, isn't it? I think I've heard this one before. I think I've heard this before, but it might catch me out, this one.
I think it will.
So
Do you want to
what
pass
can
on
you-
that one?
What can you hold without ever touching it?
What can you hold without ever touching it?
Fear.
Which is smarter than the quiz, because is the correct answer, but the quiz told me it's a conversation.
I was going to say breath.
Well, that's true as well, isn't it?
So you're both smarter than the quiz. This quiz is looking bad.
No, it's challenging, actually.
Who wrote 1984 An Animal Farm?
George Orwell.
Straight up. What comes once a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years? And don't be thinking rude.
I think I've heard these before, you know. So what was it? Say it again, please.
What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?
I've heard these before, so I just can't remember the answer. But what comes once in a minute, twice in a moment? It's like a riddle, isn't it?
It is a riddle.
Twice in a moment. Oh, I don't know.
It's a letter M, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Them
yeah.
ones all catch you out because you're looking for a complicated thing and you're like, oh, there you go.
One more real one and one more trick one, right? Which planet has the shortest day in our solar system? This shocked me, actually.
You'd think it'd be a small planet, wouldn't you?
You would,
But it's probably a big planet.
but it's probably a big planet.
Jupiter.
It is Jupiter.
Is it Jupiter the one closest to the sun?
Nah, it's Mercury, innit? Apparently.
I would have said Mercury then.
Well, apparently it rotates every 10 hours. Must be flying.
Yeah,
You must be literally grabbing hold of it. Do you know what I mean? Imagine the size of it.
Ride Jupiter.
A nightmare living on there. Okay, last one. It is a trick one. A rooster lays an egg on a slanted roof. Which side does it roll down?
The one he lays it on.
The correct answer is neither. Roosters don't lay eggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, that was the cheesiest quiz in history. But, you got some things I wouldn't know. Got the George Orwell thing. Yeah, mate, not bad. So how long have you been rolling for, Ron?
We are just over 2 hours, but it's probably like
Oh, it's a long one.
hour and 45, I think.
Hour and 45,
Yeah.
Well, listen, Paul, really appreciate you coming back on.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, really like to hear that you're doing the music thing again. I think that's, I think it's good. I remember you mentioning it last time and stuff, and I did think it was a bit sad that you weren't doing it. Like, it's obviously a passion of yours,
Yeah.
and I like this, and I'm definitely going to give this a listen when I get home. Some of you've sang these, right?
Yeah, so there's one on there that someone else sings. There's a girl that sang it. She's really good. That was one I wrote like for a female singer. The other ones, a lot of them I sang about 20 years ago. Only 17 is recent. That was the one I did at the camp.
Right.
On Track is another one I did last year from another camp I did with Kyle and that. So they're newer ones. Circled Everyone is a recent recording as well. Everything else is quite old.
Well, I'm going to give them a listen, and I suggest people who are listening do as well. It's Paul Hanafin. On Spotify.
We will leave the link to his Spotify in the description, so you can all go and have a look. Or if you want to find it your own way, just search Paul Hanafin on Spotify, and it should come up.
Side note, I know you do take on clients that are looking to get into investments or this sort of stuff. They can get in touch with you, right?
Yeah, certainly. HanafinEstates.co.uk, they can go on there. We typically work with people who either are selling investment properties and they want to sell it to another landlord, for example, 'cause if it's got a tenant in or something like that, or people who want a return on their money and they're not sure what to do. We can sort of provide, various houses to invest in and things like that. We don't provide financial advice, but we're in that business, and if they want to invest money and they want a return and they want to buy houses or are interested in the industry, obviously we can provide some opportunities for them.
What's that web address?
HanafinEstates.co.uk. As I mentioned, Hanafin is HANAF Foxtrot IN.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Again, we'll put the link to Hanafin Estates in the description below.
Brilliant.
Awesome. It's been great, and thanks a lot. And if I get something else going on in the future, I'll hook up and let you know.
Please do. I'm sure you will.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of it, and we'll see you next time.